Countdown. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Liberty Elementary School District Governing Board Candidates Forum. My name is Ed Sloat, and I'm the Director of Research here at the district, and I will be facilitating this evening's event. To get started, I invite you to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So some background information before we start the proceedings here. Tonight's forum is intended to provide the public with an opportunity to become familiar with each of the candidates seeking appointment to the currently vacant seat on the LESD Governing Board. As you may know, Liberty's Governing Board is composed of 5 elected members. In the event that one or more of these seats becomes vacant, Arizona revised statutes authorize the county superintendent to appoint an individual to fill the open seat until the next regularly scheduled election. Before making this appointment, the local governing board may submit up to 3 names for consideration. However, the county superintendent is not obligated to appoint anyone from that list. While the LESD Governing Board certainly wishes to learn more about the individual seeking appointment to the vacant seat, they also greatly value public input in helping shape their final recommendations, hence the purpose of this public forum. This event is being recorded. It is not being live streamed, and it will be available, the recording will be available to view on the district's website tomorrow, February 27th. Additionally, the public is invited to provide feedback directly to the governing board through an online candidate survey. This survey may be accessed via a URL link or a QR code that is posted to the district's website. The survey asks respondents to identify their top 3 recommended candidates and to provide general comments on their selection. Results from the online survey will be shared directly with the governing board members. Aside from myself, no other district administrator or employee will have access to that information. Since this is a candidate forum and not a formal governing board meeting, we ask that the audience members refrain from making comments or audible reactions and allow each candidate to express their responses without interruption. The format for tonight's forum is as follows. Each candidate will be permitted 2 minutes to make a brief opening statement. This will be followed by 4 predetermined questions with responses limited to 1 minute per candidate. We will focus on 1 question at a time as we move through the evening. The seating order in tonight's forum is in no particular order. We will process from left to right, and all of the attending candidates were given a copy of the forum questions when they arrived tonight on your table in front of you. So I'd like to just say, if you want to take a minute to familiarize yourself with the first 2 questions, that would be great. I'll give you a minute to do that. Let me introduce the candidates that are on the forum tonight. I want to give them a warm welcome to each of the candidates, including Ms. Corey Tillman, who is not able to be here tonight, Ms. Donnie Bond, Ms. Ashley Wright, Ms. Paul Bixler, Mr. Mike Lyon, and Ms. Ana Gutierrez. I got that right. Ms. Courtney Kelly is also a candidate, and she was also not able to be here tonight. So to the candidates, I'll say this right up front, I apologize. I apologize that when we get to the end of the time limit, I'm going to step in and remind you that we're at the end of the time limit, and it's purely for fairness and equity for everybody that's involved for that. So the opening statements would have started tonight with Ms. Tillman, and she is not able to attend, but she sent an email, and I am going to start this off by reading her email that she sent, her opening statement, if that's okay with you. Dear Liberty Elementary School District community, I regret to inform you that I will be unable to attend this evening's public forum for the governing board vacancy due to a prior obligation. I was very much looking forward to introducing myself and engaging with our community during this important event. As a dedicated educator with 17 years of teaching experience, I am passionate about serving our students, teachers, and families. I truly appreciate the support and consideration I have received throughout this process. Regardless of tonight's forum, I remain committed to working together to strengthen our schools and support the success of all students. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to continuing to be involved in our wonderful community. Sincerely, Corey Tillman. So with that, the first question is to please provide an opening statement. You have 2 minutes. And if you would include in your opening statement why you wish to serve on the Liberty Elementary School Board. And Ms. Bond, do you want to start?
Okay. Is it turned on? Okay. Good evening, board members, community, staff.
Speak right into the mic,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, okay. Why do I want to serve on the Liberty 25 School Board? Well, first of all, I do meet the requirements established by ARS 15.421. I've been a resident of Goodyear for 8 years now. I'm a registered voter. I'm definitely over 18. And I'm retired, and so is my husband, so there's no issues about being employed by the district. I'm a mother of 3 stair-step children and a grandmother of 4. Stair-step meaning we had 3 children in 3 years. I was very busy. I care deeply for the safety and education of children, and I'm playing an active role in my grandchildren's lives as well. I opted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I know that it was a great privilege that I still cherish to this day. Our home was a safe neighborhood gathering place. I'm amazed at all the opportunities that children have today. We have 7 different themed schools, and I've been studying them for the last year or so. And we're adding an 8th one this fall, possibly. Blue Horizons Bobcats is the career path exploration. Australia Mountain Cougars has the baccalaureate program. And my husband in the audience has something that I'd like to share with anybody who's interested. What I do is take pictures. I love to scrapbook, and I've sent these to the schools just to promote and show what a wonderful activity that is. If you haven't or aren't available, I will plug that for tomorrow night from 5 to 7 at Australia Mountain. Freedom Falcons has the communications arts. Las Brisas has visual performing arts. Liberty Eagles has the ag science program. And I was able to get a fish tank for them for this year. Rainbow Valley Coyotes is the leader in me. West Star is the STEAM program, which you know, but I'll just reiterate. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And then the Loretta Zumbro School, which is going to be the 21st century state-of-the-art school.
And that's 2 minutes.
Am I done? No.
Could you wrap, or just
I'm
wrap
not,
it up?
okay. I do want to be a member of this school board because I see people who care passionately about the district and want what's best. We're having growing pains, and that's become a stress that hasn't brought out the best in us. But we can get through this phase.
I think I need to move on.
Okay. I like meeting new people, and I have a lot of experience doing this. I bring 25 years of retail experience dealing with customer satisfaction, and I was recognized for my marketing effort as a Spanish outreach captain with H&R Block. I was awarded the Apple Friend of Education Award in 1993 when my children were in school, and I'd like to continue that focus in Liberty 25 because I love to volunteer. I'm a retired tax accountant, registered with the IRS, and I will focus on being a team member for our district, and I support their strategic plans and goals. You may recognize me as a recent school board candidate that came in 4th in the last election of 3 positions, as well as the only candidate that interviewed here exactly 1 year ago.
Thank you.
having
I'm
days
going to
of
have to move on.
Thank you very much
Yeah,
for
out
your
of fairness.
consideration. I appreciate your vote.
Yes, sure. Mrs. Wright, or Miss Wright?
Business is fine too. Okay. My name is Ashley Wright, and I am a parent, volunteer, and PTO vice president at Estrella. While I'm a trained paralegal and worked in HR after college, the last several years I've been a career volunteer. I have 2 children that have been in Liberty School District, one who's now in 9th grade and one who is currently in 1st grade at Estrella. As a parent of one gifted child and one that receives special services, I've experienced many different aspects of Liberty. As PTO vice president, I made it my mission to bridge the gap between teachers and parents. We have managed to not only increase our PTO participation by parents, but we've increased our teacher and staff participation as well. We've cultivated an environment where our staff and teachers know they will be supported and we value their input. We've provided valuable supplies and services to support all students, as well as included students in the organization of events and celebrations to show them the direct positive impact they can have on their campus. Aside from the PTO, I spend most of my day volunteering in classrooms, the reading lab, lunch duty, and any other task I can pick up to help add that ever-precious commodity of time to a teacher's schedule. I truly believe there's no better way I can spend my day than helping students learn to read and consistently build on those skills. Being in the school all day, I have a unique perspective that most parents don't get. I see how hard our educators work and how invaluable our support and resource staffs are to our campuses. They are all essential and we should value their input and treat them like the qualified professionals they are. I truly believe that the work I put in every day is just as valuable as a paid position, and I treat it as such. I will show the same passion and dedication in my position on the governing board. I believe by working with parents and teachers, together we can tackle the challenges facing our school and work toward a future where every student in Liberty Elementary School District thrives. Oh, sorry.
I think everybody in the room knows my name is Paul Bixler. Safety, privacy, and access to a free, appropriate public school education is a sacred promise we make to all of our children. My family has deep roots in the Goodyear Buckeye community that extend back to 1950s. I've lived in Estrella Mountain Ranch since 2015. I have 2 adult sons. Both are native-born Arizonans. I have a wife of 36 years that I love more than myself, the finest teacher I have ever known. She passed in courage and grace in 2017. I'm an Arizona veteran serving both the United States Navy and United States Marine Corps. I'm a 2-time graduate of Arizona State University and completed my public school administrator certification at Northern Arizona University. I am a State of Arizona Coach of the Year. Winning a seat on the 2020 Liberty Board, I became the first transgendered woman to hold an elected office in Arizona's 113-year history. In 2024, I was named by Arizona List as one of the 20 women that have changed Arizona. I am a proud public school professional with almost 4 decades of public school expertise from all levels of the public school architecture. Since 2018, I have actively campaigned for every Liberty building bond and override. In my tenure on the board, I proved that even when politically motivated provocateurs within our community, outside of our community, even on the board, threatened and intimidated, used lies and innuendo, and bullied to force my resignation. I remain steadfast in my foundation principle of always doing what is best for our children, our parents, our personnel, and our community. By returning to the board, I would not only once again be the longest continually serving board member, my return would ensure no loss of governance while guaranteeing the least disruption. My return will begin the rebuilding of the trust and healing that is so sorely needed. I have proven my commitment to the Liberty Elementary School District. I have an exceptionally blessed life. Serving you on the governing board is one of the most fulfilling things I have ever done. Thank you for your consideration.
Ms. Gutierrez.
My name is Ana Gutierrez. Can you hear me? And I am honored to be considered for the seat in the Liberty School District Board. I bring a unique perspective as a district leader, former administrator, and most importantly, a parent of 2 children in the district. This combination gives me an understanding of both the systematic challenges our schools face and the hopes and expectations families have for their children's education. I have spent my career dedicated to ensuring that every child receives a high-quality education, regardless of their background or their zip code. As a district administrator, I have worked closely with schools to support teacher, improve instruction, and create environments where students thrive. I understand the importance of making data-driven, student-centered decisions and ensuring that policies are designed to elevate learning and provide equitable learning opportunities for all. I also understand that and recognize the importance of a well-functioning board. It is essential and viable for making meaningful progress. A strong board works collaboratively, respects diverse perspectives, and keeps the focus on what is at center, which are students and teachers. I understand that budgeting is one of our board's most critical responsibilities. Schools must have the resources they need while ensuring financial responsibility. My experience in district-level budgeting and resource allocation has taught me how to prioritize spending in ways that directly impact students and support teachers, while also maintaining the trust of our community. As a parent and a fellow community member, I share the same goal as many of you, ensuring that our children receive the education they deserve in a safe and supportive academic environment. I am committed to listening to our community and supporting our educators and ensuring that every decision we make keeps students at the center. It would be an honor to serve in this role, bring my experience, passion, and perspective to both as both an educator and as a parent to the board. I thank you for your time.
Mr. Lyon.
Thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself. Thank you for being here or watching if you're at home. My name is Mike Lyon, and I'm asking to serve on the district as a school board member. You do have many good choices. I know that you will have to think them through. I'm a graduate of the Naval Academy and served 20 years in positions of leadership and budget management as a supply officer both at sea and shore. Upon retirement, I pursued a position in the Lake Geneva, Wisconsin School District as their food service director and eventually became the president of the Southeast Wisconsin Food Service Directors. I manage people and resources at 5 schools doing this, elementary through high school, and it was there that I realized that I really wanted to be a teacher. So I went back to school and I obtained a master's in teaching, and I taught 5th grade for many years, retired and became what I thought was going to be a substitute teacher, and I taught 1 more year at a Catholic school where the person never came back that I was subbing for. I later was on an aide for special needs children at high school and then eventually the elementary school in Whitewater, Wisconsin. With my background and my experience, I bring a unique blend of budget and people management and teaching experience. I believe that the district should be managed sort of like a 3-legged stool. 1, empower the principals to be their leaders and let the teachers teach. Take care of your staff. 2, support the students, take care of your students. And the last one, especially being retired on a fixed income, be a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars. After all, I am retired. It's time to return power to the principals and let the teachers teach without having to be looking over their shoulders. You deserve a great board, and I know that I can work with all of them while representing you, staff, students, and taxpayers. I've always been considered sort of a peacemaker in various situations, and I think I could work with any member of this board. I think we just need to give it our best effort. And I was told if you want to vote, you better ask for a vote. So I ask you for your vote to give me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Well, it turns out being a moderator of a discussion like this is more stressful than I thought it was going to be because of the timer. I always want people to like me. I don't want to. So we'll move into the questions. We have 4 questions. We'll take them one at a time, starting with Ms. Mons. So the first question is, what is the primary purpose and/or role of a school board member?
So the primary purpose
1 minute.
and role of a school board member is to know the concerns and needs of our teachers, our students, our staff, and our stakeholders. We are required, and I would expect to attend every meeting. I've already been attending them for the last 3 years. And we set the direction. We set the strategic plan. We establish structure. We provide support and ensure that our resources are available for our needs. We have a high standard code of ethics. A school board member has a responsibility to you and the students. I would like to have that responsibility to work together because I like this district, I love the kids here, and I'm excited about all the programs and opportunities they have.
Thank you. Ms. Wright?
The primary purpose of board member is to bridge the gap between stakeholders and the school system to ensure that all students have services that they need, teachers are supported, staff are supported, and we owe them trust and transparency when we're dealing with those things, especially the budget. We need to make sure that what we want done is fiscally possible, but also that we're taking care of our students and teachers the best way that we can. I think we're lacking a lot of transparency with the board that we have now, and that's my main goal, is to give a voice back to the parents and teachers. They're our greatest asset, and I think it does a lot to listen to them and what they experience on a daily basis.
Thank you.
The only role of a board member is to make decisions. And those decisions impact every single person involved in the school district. Everyone. Students, parents, personnel, the entire community. You have to make decisions. And those decisions require that you do your homework. That's the responsibility of the board member. You've got to come in prepared, and you've got to be able to make those decisions. The good news is I've done that.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Well, I think we all understand that a governing board is a local governing body of the school district, and we are very blessed that we have that local control and we get to provide input into what a school district and in what direction it should go. One of the first things that came to mind as I read this question is really there needs to be a system of checks and balances for the district. Second, there needs to be oversight of the decisions that the district is doing. Within that happens through input of the community and community stakeholders. There's advocacy, right? We are talking about children. We're not talking about widgets and gadgets. We are talking about the trajectory of children and their lives and how this will impact them. And all of that happens when people from different perspectives can come together and collaborate. So I do believe that I can provide those assets to our district and provide the direction that could support our district in moving forward.
It does, yeah. Mind of its own. Okay, I go back to the three-legged stool. The school board has 3 jobs: balance the budget, take care of the kids, take care of the staff. And I think in the past, the board has had some other agenda items, and I was at the budget review meeting, and it's obvious we need to ask some very poignant questions, which were begun to be asked at the last meeting, because the board also has to watch the money. And did I say something? And I think that there's going to be differences of opinion on the board, but like I said, I'm sort of a peacemaker, and I think I have this motto that I say, common sense is always authorized. And I think we need to use some common sense, but we also need to do some serious cutting. I've had to cut in the past in the military. You know, like, well, you don't cut military. But I've had a number of civilian people working for me as I ran exchanges and commissaries. And sometimes you need to make some cuts. And they're not fun, but they're necessary. And I'm willing to do that if that's what it takes. But I would look forward to working with a board and not coming out with a swinging an axe right away. But to get the budget back on track, I think has to be one of our number 1 jobs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is, how would you describe the parent's role in their child's education? And if you would, how does this impact your role as a member of the governing board? Do you want to Say it again?
Did you want the same person doing the first answer every single time?
Yes, we'll just cycle down through so it's very structured. So would you like me to read the question again, Ms. Pons?
No, I'm fine.
You got it there.
Parents' role in a child's education. When you become a parent, you are entrusted with a life, and you want to protect, you want to nurture, you want to keep that life safe. And so as a parent and a grandparent, I think we all would agree that that's very important. For their education, again, you raise a child up. You want them to learn and you want them to impart knowledge as well as future knowledge, the knowledge that you didn't afford in your education, but all the new aspects that we have in education today. I feel that that's critical, and I think that most parents, that is their goal and their desire. I believe that we need to, as a parent, set aside homework time, focus on good habits, and as well as working with their teachers and talking with them to communicate needs as the school year progresses, not just, at major teacher conferences. I see a lot of that going on in the district, and I'm very encouraged by that.
Thank you. Ms. Wright.
The parent's role in the child's education as the person in charge of growing up a successful, productive citizen of society, it is your job as well to take care of your child's education. You need to be informed about what's going on. If you feel like something's going on, reach out to your teacher. Reach out to the principal if that doesn't work. But it's your responsibility to know what's going on and not wait until something comes up or they get to the end of a semester and they have an F and you wonder why, what happened. It's your responsibility on a daily basis to make sure you know what's going on and to add to that instruction at home. When teachers send stuff home, go over it with them. If they have issues, go over it with them. If you're still confused with what's going on, reach out to the teacher. They're online. We have so many different wonderful programs that you can utilize, but it's definitely your responsibility to make sure you help that child be productive. And as a board member, I believe it's our role to respect the child's or the parent's position in raising and training that child. We should go through all avenues. If the child's getting in trouble at home, I think the parent needs to have or be told about it. Understand what recourse we have. Not all parents stay constantly involved with changing, like the new discipline matrix that went out. It's absolutely imperative that you communicate with the parents as well.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bixler?
Parents have the absolute authority to make the best decisions in the interest of their child. This is guaranteed in statute in Arizona. Arizona is one of the few states that has the Parental Bill of Rights, which absolutely guarantees that authority to the parent. Now, as a board member, it's important that we be transparent of what is happening at the board level and within the district, and to keep the parent informed. So our responsibility as board members is to make sure that transparency is there and that we keep the parent informed so they can make that best decision.
Thank you.
I would say that a parent's role in their children's education is a lifelong process. We educate our children their entire lives, no matter if they're 1 month old or 50 years old. So I would say that we entrust our children to our schools every single day, right, for the majority of the day, for that secondary purpose of educating them in the school setting. And we put a lot of trust in the educators that we have. I also believe that it takes an entire village to raise children. It is not just the parents and it's not just the school, but it is also the responsibility of a governing board and a governing body to raise children and to ensure that the school system is one that is effective and flourishing for students. So I believe that it is a collaborative and collective approach to creating a system and creating a school system that really supports the development of all students from pre-K all the way through high school and college and all of those systems. So working together with parents, working as a team is going to be pivotal between school setting, parents, as well as the governing board.
Thank you. Mr. Lyon?
Come on around. All right, the parents' role in the children's education, I agree with Ms. Bixler. It is number one. We have, as teachers, we have the kids longer awake time than some of the parents do, but we have a lot of things to accomplish with them. All too often, I fear that the kids go home and they're babysat by electric games, and that's not really what parenting is about. The parents have, I remember doing parent-teacher conferences, and parents would come in, especially younger parents, and they would ask me questions about parenting. They don't have all the answers, and sometimes you need to tell them. And as board members, that's probably not going to be our main job, but possibly counseling some of the teachers. I used to love parent-teacher conferences because there's something good in everybody, even if you have to say something negative later on during the conference. And how would this impact me as a board member? Communications, I think, need to be improved, whether they're district-wide or school-wide, so the parents know what's going on. And I also have one that may shoot me in the foot here, but I looked up, and you can retain children in Arizona. And having subbed in some of these classrooms, there are kids that have been passed on and never should have gotten to where they are now, and they're struggling, and they're going to struggle for the rest of their school time. So that's a case where we need to talk to the parents. And the parents make the decision. We're not going to retain them unless the parents agree. But I think there needs to be a little more boldness about what's really in the best interest of the kids, whether to move them on when they're not ready or to retain them. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question that we have that you may know about is that we are currently facing a budget shortfall. So how would you determine where budget cuts need to be made if you were a board member?
Okay.
Ms. Bonds?
Yeah. So the board has already expressed a willingness to look at the existing POs, purchase orders, and reduce those amounts. I will support budget cuts that do not affect anything that has anything to do with classroom instruction or interaction. In our home, we call it nice but not necessary. So some of these things that I've talked to with Dane already about are amounts that can be spent but have not been spent. So we're going to look carefully at those and reduce those amounts that will help with the bottom line that has been expressed already.
Thank you. Ms. Wright?
Determining budget cuts, it's hard for me to make an educated answer on this topic because we're still unsure what happened to the existing budget. So it's hard for me to decide where cuts would be made besides not touching student services, which should be paramount to anybody in this room. But I think I would start with looking at not opening Loretta Zumbro. We already have several openings, and we don't know how we're going to make that up yet. We don't even know where the money went currently. I've seen several people have asked, but we get the same boilerplate answer. So until I know where the money went, it's hard for me to tell you honestly where I would make cuts, but I would do everything in power not to have it affect any of the children because they come first, they're what's important, and it's not political gains in any way.
Thank you. Ms. Bixler?
I could absolutely not agree more with Ms. Wright. I think there's still a lot of information that we have to gain before we can have any kind of specificity on what the cuts will be, or even where to suggest them. And it was well pointed out at the special meeting that there's a lot more information that we need to know before we can do anything like that. So all I can really speak to is what my attitude would be going into it. Certainly I would hold safe the classroom. That's where you spend your money. But as I enter into that, I need to kind of go back to the physician's mantra, which is do no harm. And I wish we could do that. I've had 2 opportunities to do that in the past, once as a building principal and once as a board member, we had to make severe cuts. So do no harm may not be possible. So do the least harm is what we probably will have to do. But specificity is what we will need to do that. I'd be reluctant to make a statement as to what those cuts would be until that time.
Ms. Gutierrez, I apologize. My phone just
No worries.
decided to talk to me. I have no idea why.
That's okay. Given the current budget concerns that we saw in the work study from last Wednesday, as well as the Auditor General reports, I think it's important to really look at the current standing of the district's financial status, right? I think those were two initial status reports on where the district is, and I think the other candidates here are talking about the lack of specificity in those documents at this moment. So as a member, I would want to dig further, have additional transparent audit findings, and as someone who has currently gone through district cuts when our override didn't pass, it is a very challenging process that requires a lot of transparency, a lot of collaborative input from stakeholders, not just educators, but community stakeholders who would be impacted by the cuts. And it is done in a process with a timeline that is spanned out and not from one moment to another. The other thing that I'd like to address with this question is that these plans are not 1 year. These plans are intended to be multi-year capital M&O budget plans that really input the future of the district, right? So I'd like to take all of those factors into consideration, but I would definitely agree with all the other members here that prioritizing what happens in every single one of our classroom sizes, our teacher salaries is essential to the work that we have to do in making those decisions.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I agree with people that have said they don't know exactly where they're going to cut or how much they're going to cut because we haven't seen all the numbers and where they came from. But it's only fair to give you an answer of how I would start. I would start with looking at where we've expanded spending over the last couple years, because we went from a balanced budget with a $3 million surplus to about $750,000 surplus, and then at the recent budget meeting, we're $3 million in the hole going into the next year. So obviously something has been spent, and I would start taking a look right there. I also feel, and I'm an outsider, I would want to do more investigating, but it seems to me like the administration, or what I call the head shed, has expanded dramatically more, and in some cases at the expense of school staffers. I know in one case they took a person out of a school that was very beneficial, and now when I'm up at that school, I see huge lines waiting, people waiting to be served. That was a part-time person we took. We are getting subs called by another company now, and we're going to pay that company. So I would look to see a commensurate reduction in our payroll since we're no longer having to do that. And I think that's about it for without knowing more information. I would want to find out a little bit more.
Well, thank you very much. Moving on to the last question that we have for tonight. Outside of the budget, what is the biggest problem facing the district? And how do you think the board and the district should solve it? Ms. Spons.
I think growth is our biggest challenge right now. We see construction everywhere. We have, you can't hear me? I'm sorry. We have construction, we have roads torn up, we are growing. People are moving into our neighborhoods, and we are adding population. I think that we need to be clear with our community about the growth and a clear direction so that they understand the needs of our district, so that if we can pass another bond to help with the situation, we can explain clearly why it's needed. I think that we have many advantages here in our district that we can promote, and I think it would be a wise thing to continue to do that, and I would be an advocate for promoting all the different personalities and all the different opportunities we have in each school.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Okay, do I have to pick just one? The biggest problem currently is staffing. We have 66 open positions currently and a new school that we're going to staff, and no way to know how we're going to do that. We've had 18 teachers leave who wanted to pay $2,500 to get out of here. We need to listen and figure out what's going on. We have lost the public's trust. We've been all over the news. People don't feel like they want to have their kids here next year. I've had several families discuss finding other districts to go to. That's not growth. That is quite the opposite of growth. Transparency, trust. We have parents begging for trust and transparency in meetings, and they get laughed at and ridiculed. I mean, ill-prepared governing board members. If you watch a meeting, they're looking at the information just about the same time you are. They have to be told regularly by Ms. Zimmerman what's going on. That is not how you do it. You come prepared. You expect your children to come to school prepared. You expect the teachers to come to work prepared. Come to the board meetings prepared.
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you for this question. I know that the shortfall in our budget is one of the major topics that we're going to have to deal with, but we do have a small window that we can work in. I think the thing that is number one right now in our district is to restore trust in all of our stakeholders. We've lost that with the actions of our leadership on the board over the last two leadership. We need to restore that first. That's where it needs to begin. Once we've done that, we can start looking at the others, but that trust has got to happen first. How do you do that? I'll tell you the best way to begin. Put me back on the board.
Ms. Gutierrez.
I believe that teachers are at the heart of all of this work. Our teachers are in our classroom every single day advocating for our students. You can't hear me? I believe that teachers are at the center of this work. Sorry, now it's too loud. Are at the center of this work, and this impacts their day-to-day. Our parents are expecting and entrusting our students with teachers on a daily basis. I do believe that staff morale and teacher retention is a critical factor in our district, and what impacts that is leadership, both from the governing board and from administration. So working to prioritize their retention so they can provide a quality education every day to students would be central to this work. Teachers need our support, and that's what we're here for.
Mr. Lyons.
I think one of the biggest problems facing the district is real test scores. And one of the ways to improve them is multifaceted. More teachers, more after-school help. I keep hearing about this math tutoring, and I've yet to see it. But I also think that one of the ways to solve this, I don't think we need to have 50 to 100 people at board meetings that are there with signs and complaining. I think the way to solve that has been mentioned earlier. Really be transparent and have the board work together. I feel like I could bring peace and calm to the board, which is pretty well split right now. But I can work with anybody, and I've been known to bring people together. I've had a union pack up and leave on me. They said we don't need to be here. And I think going back to the other thing is, I think communication with parents sends a big message. If they know what's going on in their kids' classroom, they know how their kids are doing. And if the parents don't come in, sometimes they need a little nudge. I mean, we can't make them come in. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them go through the school doors. Thank you.
Thank you. We had 4 questions, main questions for tonight, and we've gone through them. I want to thank each and every candidate for agreeing to participate and share their thoughts tonight. And I thank the audience and the community members in attendance for this. The community members are reminded that to go to the district's website after this forum is complete, after we adjourn for tonight, and the recordings for tonight are going to be posted that you can review again beginning tomorrow. And then we'd also like to ask that you consider taking the community survey, candidate survey, and providing the governing board with your thoughts. You'll be asked to select the top 3 candidates based upon their answers and what you feel. And then also there's an opportunity for you to express to the governing board your thoughts on the recommendations that you provide. There was one thing, Minnie, that we were supposed to do at the very end. I was supposed to do the QR code, right? When, for those in attendance tonight, as you leave, pick up the QR code, and the QR code is to the survey, and so you can use your phone and I have no idea why this is happening. None whatsoever. Where's AI when you need it, when to ask a question? The QR code will take you directly to the survey. You can answer it simple. You can answer it on your phone easily or on your laptop when you get home or something. But, thank you very much for coming by, and thank you so much for agreeing to come here and share. Good night, everyone. Be safe and have a great evening.